Welcome to the Dirty Snow Podcast, Season 5, Episode 1. We've been at this for half a century, Norm.
Half a decade.
Decade.
You
Jesus.
rehearsed that too. You came
I
very
did.
close.
Well, hey,
Very
you know,
close.
we've only been at it 5 years, so
Yeah.
we made a few mistakes over the years. Different shows, different characters on shows. We've had a lot of fun though. So 5 years at it. How do you feel about it?
It's been a lot of fun. Did some fun stuff. I hope we made a little bit of an impact. I think some things got changed because of us sometimes, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's been fun.
So you threw some links here in the comments.
I did throw some links in there.
T-shirt link.
Some Dirty Snow merchandise, swagger, whatever you want to call it, links. That's to our Shopify store. We're live on YouTube for the first time too at our YouTube page. Allegedly, I mean, I have no way to check it until after the fact.
I think I could check it,
but yeah, so that's exciting. I don't know. Yeah, what do you think? Yeah. What are your thoughts? Dirty Snow 5 years in.
Dirty Snow 5 years in. I can't believe we made it 5 years. First off, you know, doing a podcast year after year burns a person out in a way. Yeah, but I think it's contributed enough where it makes us want to stick at it.
Absolutely, it's something I look forward to on Tuesdays. We either do like a shop night on the stock car side on Tuesdays, or I'm doing this kind of stuff. It's a whole new appreciation for like sports media, video editing, and camera work. I learned a lot in the last 5 years on that stuff, more than I ever thought I would. So, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But
so do you have any goals for the Dirty Snow season 5? Like, what do we want to kind of tack down?
No, I think.
Or should we brainstorm throughout the episode, kind of, and then we'll wrap that up at the end?
We'll brainstorm. I hope some people that are watching. I see we got quite a few viewers here. Hope they're watching with us. If you have any ideas or things you'd like for us to talk about or do this year, feel free to drop them in the comments. We always appreciate the comments.
It's tough to get back in this algorithm.
It's tough. I know.
So it'll be interesting to watch the numbers and see how they change throughout the season.
Yeah. So there's a few people we got to thank here real quick that always help us put the show on. The fine folks over at Woody's Traction Products. They've been with us since pretty much the start, I think 3 or 4 years. So thanks to those guys over there. Rick over at Papa's Seasonings. Best seasonings out there. I just made a venison roast last night. Used some of his steak rub.
Yeah, I've been really hitting it hard on the Rick seasonings this summer. The smoker hasn't stopped with Papa Rick's seasoning. And I love making Texas or cowboy steaks with it.
Okay.
You cover it as much as you can because he doesn't use a lot of salts in it. So you can just load it up on there. And when you cook it on the grill, whatever kind of falls off. But man, when you get a finished product, turns out perfect. The steak seasoning.
Yeah, the roast was great yesterday. Not bad stuff. He's got Bloody Mary mix too. The fine folks over at Emperor One. We're in the Emperor One studio once again. And then PJR Home Services. So thanks to those fine folks that help put the show together, stuff like that. We're always looking for more marketing partners as always. But yeah, let's we're about a month out from snowmobile season. Can you believe that? Month out from the first Beaujeu race.
This morning really set in when I woke up and I walked out and I had frost on the vehicle sitting at 30 degrees. I'm like, winter is coming. But beyond that, I was a little nervous. We haven't had much cold weather here in the central Wisconsin area, and I think we might hit the turning point.
Yeah, I hope so. It's been unseasonably warm, at least for us, but hoping the folks up in Beaujeu have a little bit colder weather than us, or more, some on the way at least. Those guys can crank out a racetrack pretty fast, though.
They can literally put a track in a week, I think. The way those guys can lay water, something about the humidity's right. Everything just works out for those guys up in Canada really well. They can throw down.
Yeah, let's. Did you do anything exciting this summer? I guess before we get full blown into race season.
I took the summer pretty easy. I focused on work, setting up to have the opportunities this winter that came about. Didn't really chase much racing. Got to help you in a wedding day, so.
Got hitched, so that was cool. That was fun. Did a honeymoon in Alaska on a cruise. Recommend that for sure.
I did my first vacation in Mexico, and that was after the race season last year, and it was like, man, I think I'd get used to going on a trip after race season for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I did some racing this summer. We always talk about supporting your local short track, whether it's in the stock car side, snowmobile side, supporting your racetracks that are close to you. I got to help Brock Heinrich. We got another late model championship at Wausau, which turned out this was the last season that State Park Speedway in Wausau was open. The Wimmer family ran that for almost 15 years, and they have decided to move on to different things. Track status is looking pretty bleak, but I think there's still a small window of opportunity for something to come along.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there, and be a hard loss for the Central Wisconsin area.
Yeah, they used to have snowmobile races out there. USSA raced there back in the day.
Yeah, that concrete wall was scary.
Yeah, still is scary.
Snowcross there as well at one time. But yeah, it's tough to lose another local track, but we still have the Wausau 525 track here, and I think there's going to be many years at that. So we'll always have a little racing here.
Yeah. Speaking of the schedule, we will pull that up here, kind of present this year's schedules.
Yeah, we got a breakdown of kind of how everything lays out, what overlaps, where it overlaps.
Yeah, so
we're gonna
back in March. I gotta get on the right slide here. So yeah, we are a month out from the first Pro Star Cup Tour race up in Beausejour. Yeah, it'd be interesting. That's always a hard race number wise to judge. I know they did pretty well last year, but hopefully, they'll have pretty big numbers to start the year. Especially if there's not like a lot of test time. I think when that happens, the numbers are usually bigger. You got guys scrambling to get stuff done. So hopefully people are rocking right along.
Yeah, 1 month out, and you said it, was the weather's going to change here, I think, real quick on us, and we'll be racing the 14th and 15th up in CPT at Beausejour. I don't have the sweatshirt. I have the shirt on underneath this, but that is one of the sweetest half-mile tracks to go to, just flat out speed, and it's a fun event for sure, and that always kicks off the year.
Yeah, and then after Christmas there, you got PVR heading back to Ironwood. Ironwood is back on the schedule for a couple events this season. So that's super exciting to see. They had some issues with the grandstands and the fairgrounds, and that was a whole debacle that we don't want to get into. We don't know enough on the topic to discuss it. So
it looks like they did some modifications to the facility. It looks like they've really opened up the entries of the turns, removed a few poles, possibly, it looked like in the video clips that I did see posted. So I'm really excited to see how the track changes and how we might have made it safer and a little wider for the races out there. Those horse tracks seem to be pretty narrow.
Yeah, that track's been around for a long time. Ironwood's been around since the 60s. I believe that's been the Gogebic County Fairgrounds up there. But yeah, I don't know what it's going to look like. Hopefully, I know Greg Bassam is the promoter up there. Hopefully they share some pictures and some more info coming up. Month and a half away from that one. That's always a good race. I think that race is going to be pretty popular. PVR has usually done a very good job of including some of the modern day classes on a couple of their rounds.
That's true. I remember them doing that now.
Yeah. So some of the local or champ guys maybe that don't get up to Beausejour might use that as a session for the following weekend.
Could USSA sneak in a 440 Supermod class for Ironwood as well?
I don't know.
I like the test time,
Yeah. Plenty of test time. So that's the first month, December, just about a month away. And then moving over to January, the Snowmobile Olympus is back up in Ironwood again. That's the second round of the Pro Star Cup.
Yeah, second round. Like I said, I'd like to see that 440 Supermod as a surprise class.
Yeah, a little test time for the next weekend, and then
we all need it because there is no vintage racing prior to Eagle River, so
just
we're all
the one
kind of
PVR race in Ironwood.
Yeah, just
that's it.
It's very slim pickings, 1 weekend on a half mile. We'd like a little more
seat time. It's hard because I don't unless the ground gets froze here real quick, I don't know how many test tracks are going to get made on land, especially this time of year.
Yeah. So
But yeah, then right after the Snowmobile Olympus is the Vintage World Championship up at WCDC. So that's exciting. Jamie Burgoy had a very fast sled last year. Gady right there in contention as well. So another vintage WC, those supermod sleds, they're really racy. The top 10 is so close all the time.
Top 20 is insanely close. Just to break the top 10 is a tough. The LCQ is a good battle.
Yeah.
For sure. Every year. It's weird. It's going to be early this year, and last year it was pushed back to the last event that we competed in. So
yeah, you had a lot of seat time by the time you got to the WC.
It was very interesting, and the track, the way it wore in, and the way the weather kind of gave it to us last year. It was a interesting line. You had to kind of watch where you raced, or you fell in a hole. But it's great to have it back at the beginning of the season. Let's see what they can do with putting ice down. We're going to be watching the track cam. Hopefully that's up again, and we can see what's going on.
Yeah, it's always exciting to see for the fans, drivers alike. Seeing the live action shots of them making ice. If you're not a local, driving past, you don't see the lights on. So hopefully lots of ice gets put down this year. Hopefully the weather gets cold. Same weekend as the modern day WC is CMPR over there. That's kind of
Central Minnesota Pond Racing Series.
It's a little bit of conflict with being the WC weekend, but I think they're spread out far enough apart to where I don't think they steal entries from each other.
I think they run their own. It's more of a vintage hybrid modern over at CMPR. So I don't see it as a huge issue. You're going to have your title, your F3 classes, your champ on Friday Night Thunder on the 17th or 17th.
Yep. Pro Star
Cup will be your Pro Star Cup race. You don't see a lot of cross of the champ guys or the F3 guys with the series there. A lot of the guys that run in CMPR are the supermod guys, actually, and vintage and F500. They have a pretty good showing as well, week after week.
Yeah, so that's one little conflict. That's not too bad.
I think that
nothing to worry about.
You're going to have that. You got different regions and different levels of racing. Club level versus regional and a national. Like you see that in all circuits.
Yeah, absolutely. Praying for cold weather at Hankey Motorsports. John Hankey, good to see you texting, buddy. And then move into the next part of January. So following
this is a wild day in snowmobile racing.
Big weekend there. So Pro Star Cup Tour heads to the Sprint World Cup in Wausau at the former Wausau 525 track. This is USSA's third year putting on the Sprint World Cup. That'll be a 3-day show there, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And I believe they try to throw a little spice in it on Friday nights, a couple different classes. And then they usually do a charity event where if you bring like some food donation, you get in for free to watch the Friday night stuff.
Yeah, we'll see what they come up with this year and how we're going to get back and keep growing. Because, at the end of the day, the Wausau track is all around the charity and giving back to the Irwin Foundation.
Yeah, local community is very supportive of that. Also that same weekend out east, you got the Boonville Snow Festival over in New York. Yeah, it's a pretty big race for the East Coast.
It kind of launches a set of races we're going to see kind of trickle out. You're gonna do it's like an East Coast tour, we'll call it. We'll throw that under that belt. That's kind of the kickoff weekend for the guys out there. And then we have some other races going on just on the Saturday of that weekend, and that's Dorchester for Ice Oval Unlimited.
That's Paul Sockwell's group.
Yep. And then we have
Gamey Conservation Club.
It's race. A non-PVR event. This is a club race for them, so it's non-PVR sanctioned.
Yeah, and they've done a good job in the past of turning out numbers for that whole area. I think it's kind of like a run what you brung kind of thing. Looks like it's been a lot of fun in the past.
Yeah, it's a neat facility. It's kind of odder shape. I
Yeah,
haven't
it's
raced
that
it
big-
myself.
It's that big like D-ring kind of shape, you know, like you're always turning kind of.
Yeah, I haven't raced it, so I can't really put a good input in it. And then we have CMPR in Sauk Center, Minnesota.
Yeah, so that is January. That weekend
That is
is
a big
busy.
weekend.
A lot of overlap, a lot of places to race. I believe Gleason still races quite a bit.
Yeah, they have a weekly schedule.
Weekly schedule for anyone that's likes the Gleason stuff.
Yeah.
And then February, first weekend of February here is a little bit overlap. You got
We're back to Canada.
back to
for
Canada
ProStar.
for I think 2 weeks in a row for ProStar guys. Eganville, that's one of the races up and out of the main channel of racing. It's kind of out there, but they've raced there for a long time. Usually gets a good crowd.
It's an amazing crowd, Eganville. It's a hill that you stand on and the kind of a beater cross event and super fast little paperclip, super fun.
Perfect. Also that same weekend, the Saturday shows, you got PVR over at the Wassa track. They work with USSA on that. As a race fan, I enjoy seeing those two clubs work together because they're both local, helping each other out when they can and willing to share weekends.
Yeah, and the benefit of Wassa, is it's such a wide racetrack. They can kind of move it up, and it's like having a brand new track for the PVR guys. It holds up really well, and the ice crew's always on top of it. They've seemed to always put down at least 10 to 12, maybe 14 inches of ice. They do an awesome job.
Yeah, they ran last year with the temps, I believe. PVR, I think they had to cancel that.
No,
No,
they
PVR
got it
ran
in.
well. Yeah, PVR
Yeah,
ran
they
well.
they could have ran another weekend. They said.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, you got it flipped around there.
Got it flipped around.
Be beating on my crew without
I know
Wassa.
the Heinrich. That's half the race team that I work with too. So, then the following weekend.
Oh, we forgot we got Butterfield as well.
Butterfield. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
CMPR. We're gonna get some hate mail from them. Butterfield, Minnesota. Central Minnesota Pond Racing is that weekend as well. So 3 events going on in the ice oval world on those days, and then we head back
The
over
Mac
to the
Daddies
Grand Prix
the
of
Mac
Valcourt.
Daddy.
So the ProStar Cup returns to Valcourt this year after a year off. That'll be exciting. National Snowcross is there. I think it's a really good opportunity for some ice oval guys.
TV time.
Exactly. TV time, streaming time with Flo being there.
I do have the numbers from last year of their streaming, kind of what it turned out to. We'll have to dig it up on a later episode. But I did get that from the crew out there and how it kind of showed. And if you would like to watch, you can watch a recap of it all on YouTube, I believe. So they did awesome. It was watching ice oval at the top level of camera performance when the snowcross guys brought in that crew they used for the videography and the filming. The ice oval guys got the benefit of it as well. So it really showed a crystal clear view of what ice oval racing was.
Yeah, and that's a great opportunity for our ice oval guys to get some more coverage, to take those numbers and present them to sponsors to say, hey, we got X amount of streams when we weren't even the premier series at this event.
Oh, premier
They're
series.
the premier.
Don't even
yes.
don't even mess around because
on the streaming network, Flo was there for Snowcross, but the track likes the ice oval stuff more.
Yeah, the fans are
do.
hands down ice oval. We stuck around for Snowcross one night as we were working late in the pits, and the crowd was gone. Snowcross was performing on their own show, and truly the fans are there for the ice oval bikes and the sleds. I hate to say it, but that's what I noticed, and I'm sticking to it.
Absolutely. Same weekend as Valcourt is you have the PVR race at Outagamie Conservation Club, and then CMPR is at Strathcona. That's usually a bigger purse race for some of the F500 guys. I believe the Strathcona Cup.
Yep, that is correct. It is a pretty popular race for the guys on that side.
So moving right along, middle of February there, the following weekend, both PVR and the ProStar Cup with USSA are at the Manawa Snowdeo down here in Manawa, Wisconsin. Big event. I like that both vintage and modern can race on the same weekend. Doesn't make like the fan choose which race they're going to, and they can see it all in one place. Also, if you're not entertained by racing, we've been down there before. There's a lot of other stuff to do other than watch ice oval racing.
And it's been 2 years elapsed. So
I know.
we need to get one in here,
I
guys.
know it's got to get cold in Manawa.
Cold weather
Bear
for
Lake.
Manawa.
Dave and Debbie work really hard, and all the crew down there. I'm really rooting for Manawa. Got to get some hard lake ice. Same weekend is the Woodstock, New Brunswick race that you, Sabrina, and your teammate Mike put on a heck of a show at last year in the Supermod race.
And we can't forget about Lucas Nass as well.
Lucas, yes, Lucas was over
we
there.
throw a battle in there, and we put a hell of a show on for the TV crew there. And we're hoping it's going to draw. They're saying they got some big cash purses. If you're not in the points tour for the champ stuff, maybe jot a few extra miles and head over there and run that stuff as well.
Yeah, that's it looked like a really racy track last year. Props to you guys, the front four that put on such a good show. I know we shared the video. It got over like 22,000 views and stuff. It was just a really, really good race.
Yeah, and the community there backs it so much. After bringing something back, they threw a bunch of money at it. They're taking poles out. They're upgrading the track area. The facility is going to come around. Give it the first year hammered it in. Great broadcast. Second year is only going to get better.
That's all you can hope for. That same weekend, Saturday event, CMPR is in Gray Eagle, Minnesota. And then the following weekend, the World Series, Eagle River's third date for the season. You're going to have the Pro Star
and
Cup
PBR
and
again.
PBR. So that'll be a good weekend of racing. Same weekend, Detroit Lakes, CMPR is there. And then that Saturday, Paul Sockwell and the Ice Oval Unlimited crew are in Dorchester, Wisconsin. Paul is a great promoter, I think. I'm following their Ice Oval page. And he's always going to get sponsors and throwing a lot of purse money back at a lot of different classes. So that is always great to see.
Yeah, they do a great job, and they really support their local group and their community a ton, and the community comes out for them a lot.
Yeah, I was hoping they'd be
awesome
back at TNT because it was
a nice early race. Yeah,
early race. It was a lot of fun to watch.
A little tight, but it was an awesome little facility.
Yeah, you had low speeds, which I think made the passing and rubbing on each other a little bit more fun to watch. And then March concludes the season. First weekend of March is kind of all she wrote. You're gonna have the second round of the Canadian Power Toboggan Championships up at Beaujeu. That will end.
That is the
last race for the Pro Star Cup.
The first.
Yeah, it's the weekend of the first, and it's CPTC. So our bad. And then Willow River, Minnesota is a PVR race. That's pretty cool to see PVR venture over that way. They're kind of more of a Wisconsin-centered series. And then CMPR is in Glenwood. And that's kind of it for the season. I know, I think weather pending.
Get late March is tough.
Eagle, yeah, it's tough.
Or mid-March is tough. It's
I think Eagle River is going to have legend laps again this year.
They're gonna push that back. I believe that's normally
that's like
a middle of a week.
Yeah, that's middle of the week. It's like
I didn't
Thursday.
grab that calendar date.
I'll see if I can find it here quick. Eagle River also gets National Snowcross this year again, which that's exciting.
Yeah, it's later in the year as well, I believe.
Yeah, middle of March, I believe. So exciting for those guys up there. Anything about the schedule surprised you? Anything you don't like? I mean, I know you got an announcement that has been made for you.
Yeah, the announcement this year for me is go running an F3 for Hankey Motorsports for the early part of the season, which is going to be big. We're going to be running the WC as our main target, and we're going to see how many rounds and practice we can get in and try to get me as comfortable as possible on that sled and run run it down and see what we can do for the Hankey family and the Hankey Motorsports.
Yeah, that's absolutely very cool. I was excited to hear about that. Glad to see that John is recovering well. You're going to get some seat time. And then, it's a good F3 class. It's the WC class.
That's a big one that
That's a big
weekend.
one.
No matter what you're running that weekend for a WC is stressful on your crew, you, the family. You're there for many days. It's out, it's cold, it's warm. You don't know what it's going to throw at you. We've been in so many different situations at their facility at Eagle River. But yeah, that big 25 lapper is going to see who's going to come out on top again. And it seems like we've had a guy that's been king for the last 2 years on it, and it'll be fun to challenge him.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking, of course, of Matt Gady, two-time defending world champion up at Eagle River there. The Legends Lap event is Thursday, February 13th. It is before the World Series. So that is pretty much the schedule for the year. 9 events for the Pro Star guys, I believe I counted.
Yeah, it's a lot of
4 regular shows for USSA non-champ drivers. So if you're not traveling, your series is 4 events. I've heard mixed feelings about the schedule. 9 races is too long. It's a lot of traveling.
Yeah, I believe that, the traveling with having Velcora and Eganville on there, that is a tough one to pull off if you work a 9 to 5, pulling that time frame between the two. Because once you're in Eganville, you have to just head over to Velcora.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just find somewhere to park up, and
you're gone for 2 weeks, week and a half.
Yeah, and then it's a day or two travel back.
Yeah.
On top of that, it's not just a straight shot. It's 20 some hours plus to get home. So yeah, it's hard on the crews, and you usually have to fly a guy sometimes, and it's a logistics fun, which makes you really give other series like F1 and bigger stuff credit to figure out how to transport their crews and the equipment and everything. It really makes you appreciate it, because now you're not really in your little region anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Where, hey, we can jump in the car. It's 3 to 4 hours. No, it's
20 plus hours
logistics.
usually.
Yeah. And Queen 17 is not easy on trailers if you're going up and around that way.
No, it's not bumpy. But no, it's good to see. I think a positive from the longer schedules is that it's good to see that there is 9 events. There's a lot of different racetracks that are involved. So I think that's a sign that the sport's healthy in that sense. I also think, you got to have 9 races on the schedule, because Mother Nature might throw a wrench at something.
Cancel a few.
And you might get a few canceled.
Yeah.
So it's good to have it like that. And I think the multiple different series, they sometimes overlap with each other on race days. I think it's good, because then you get more people, maybe with a smaller budget, at closer tracks. They don't have to spread their budget as thin traveling.
You really have to look at it. It is not class oriented, but tiers. At the end of the day, you have different leagues. You have your grassroots racing, your regional, and then you're going to go on tour.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than racing late models at your local track, and doing next you do the big 8s, and then you do the Tundra Tour. And then you start to go to national stuff.
Absolutely.
We see this across all things, and you're going to have stack ups, and that's the way it rolls out. And sometimes it favors the guys that are in the lower divisions, because you don't always have the bigger guys there, so you can get that energy and that rolling of, hey, I got to win now, let's keep it rolling, and now let's step up to the next game. You need that diversity of growth from grassroots all the way through.
Yeah, it gives people a lot of opportunities, different tracks they want to try out, get to race against different competitors, and like you said, moving up, maybe someone that's maybe not, for example, F500, maybe they're kind of a sport tier driver, but there's only one class at this smaller track. they go out and do pretty well. They have a little more confidence. Next time they go to a bigger race, they're going to enter that pro class.
Yeah, it's all about building up that seat time, that seat time. You don't start on the top. You never have and you never will start on top. You have to work your way up, and it takes years of sitting on that seat.
Absolutely. One thing I didn't see on the schedule that I don't want to call it smoke and mirrors, that it was Supermod Nationals.
Yeah, what's going on? That's kind of odd. It went really quiet. But I think last year it was planned on an early set of schedule, and the weather didn't pan out. What is the next series that's going to come out about with a new promoter style or view?
Yeah, if someone that's watching knows a little more on it, please enlighten us on some details.
It might have just hit a wall.
It might have hit a wall.
You know, if you have a land contract for a racetrack, you may struggles, and that is part of it. Being a promoter is not easy. You can ask guys like Sockwell and USSA Pro Star Tour and Guillaume over in Valcourt. It's not an easy game. You know, you're tracking down a lot of things. You're putting a lot of hats on, and it takes a tribe to really put it together.
Yeah, absolutely. So hoping something similar to that comes along, you know, big exhibition race like that with a big purse.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to see 100 some entries per class. That would be pretty wicked.
You know what I'd really like to see in oval racing? A traveling jumbotron.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that would really help. You need a jumbotron and live scoring.
Live scoring would be neat.
Yeah.
I don't know what transponder rental costs or what it costs to bury a loop, but if people are thinking about live scoring, bury your transponder line before you start making ice. So about right now, before the ground starts freezing.
You can cut it in.
You can cut it in, but
the lines are cheap.
Make it a little easier. So yeah, that's a little disappointing. I would like to see a big F500 Cup race.
Oh, you're talking like Minnesota had at the
like Strathcona, but bigger.
No, not Strathcona.
Oh,
Alexandria. With the
jet
ski to win.
The jet ski F500. It was a champ prize, and then moved the F500 class. Yeah, I would love to see a big purse F500 race. You know, like $2,000 to win, bigger payouts for the top 5 or something. You know.
Oh, and John, the Eagle River Jumbotron, I believe, got struck by lightning, if I remember right.
Yes.
And
then it froze up.
Ride. And technology's come a long ways. You know, you can buy panels from, you know, this is stuff I look into because I have nothing better to do with my time. Is these oddball objects. There's actually one in Stevens Point for sale.
Greg McCarnes might be yeah, Kurt Keene. There you go.
Yeah, or even a, you know,
ASA. So we built one at work in our big lobby.
Okay.
We took 4 50-inch TVs, and this is on a wall, so it's kind of fixed mounted.
You build a aluminum frame.
Yeah, 4 50-inch TVs, and then they put an HDMI splitter in, so it's one picture. Shows nice. Our company logo. And then they did like different backgrounds with fall and they put the weather up on it, and it kind of rotates every once in a while.
It's doable with TVs, as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't know how many TVs you can link together, but I know you can do 4.
When we were looking into it, me and you did at one time with the splitter, I think you can get up to like 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Even maybe even 10.
Get a couple 55 inchers and
start linking them together. You gotta get the industrial weatherproof ones though. That's the next thing.
And have a fab guy build a frame for them. And
yeah, there's a way to do it. There's a way. There's a how. I believe there's even kits out there.
I've seen some
research
for like churches. You know, they got the big like screens up in the steeple area.
I think I have a commercial projector somewhere even.
Yeah, this was like screens similar to monitors, so it would be cool to see. I think like the fans that are on the hill. I think of Wausau, I guess. It'd be cool to see the live stream, or if there's replays that happen for the people on the hill. I think
replays of the cat's meow.
Yeah, Eagle River would appreciate it too. I mean, you get it if you're in the bar and whatnot. So that's pretty neat. Get the Charlie horse here. Next, 106 tracks. I believe they're back. That was a big thing last year, if we were to get tracks or not. So I believe 106 tracks are available for order.
I've seen pictures of them, and my team, I believe, was getting one shipped to them, and I think we got it unclipped. And
you're gonna have to do a little bit of work with them, clipping them and studying them like normal. They don't come pre-drilled anymore.
I think that's a great thing,
and
it really helps with the pattern.
You can make your own pattern.
Integrity.
And it's stronger because you don't have, it doesn't look like Swiss cheese kind of everywhere. So 106 tracks was a big topic. You got some guys on 116s as far as track length. I know a couple of the new wall sleds.
I don't, the 116, will it be efficient, or will they go back to that 106? What are people going to do there? The 116s are forgiving. Like they last a long time. They don't chunk out, but they claim the new track won't as well with the new rubber compound they went to. So, and Howard was kind of heading that up, and I know he's a pretty wise man when it comes to it. So,
yeah, be interesting to see how all that pans out. Because usually, like when you race true champ, you'd go through about a track a year, correct?
Yeah, for sure. Track a year. When they loosened up, I think you get it maybe 2 years out of a track. Once they loosened up the wipers.
Yeah, because that was a big issue. Was like
you'd lose them so fast.
Wiper height to stud length, right? Because you're measuring off the wipers to see how long your stud is.
Yeah, but it's just the outer wiper that really takes that beating.
Mm-hmm.
You peel it off. You could peel it off in a few weekends. Literally, if you're aggressive on the sled and pitching it, you'll tear that wiper off in a weekend. Some of the guys probably could at least start to get them to rip.
Okay. And yeah, because I remember like we would run a track and then vintage guys would usually come buy them. Like a year, you'd keep one as a backup. And then after a year or two, you'd sell one to a vintage guy that.
They're not as aggressive on them and they get that length out of it. And it works in their case.
Yeah. So that's exciting stuff. We got some 106 tracks back. And then question we kind of had, if anyone's out there watching that knows the status of this, I believe there was talks of piston repops being done for, I believe, both Skidoo and Polaris for the 440 class for your champ motors. Saw that dried up a little bit. Not sure if they're what's going to happen.
Going to open the rules up a little and allow the aftermarket stuff, and it is what it is.
Yeah, parts are getting harder to come by.
We've been talking about this part shortage for a long time, and it's not a fun talk.
Coming up on 20 years since the last 440 production by the factory. So got to get some parts out there.
3 years out.
2 years. It'd be 2 years in January.
Yeah. 2 years. 07, I believe, was the last 440 production.
Oh, Jeff McDonald with a little track info. Rubber's a little stiffer, and after they're clipped, the new track is 2 pounds heavier. I did hear they were a little stiffer. I heard some people had it on, the track rotisserie, and it was not. The bow wasn't coming out of it after quite a few hours on the rotisserie.
So everybody's going to be building track rotators and putting some cycles on them, heating them up, probably.
Yeah, getting it to
hot box them so they start to flex.
Yeah, long as they don't stretch too far where you get out of adjustment.
They'll be putting tire prep on them soon, soften them up.
Yeah.
Stock car guy tricks.
Yeah, as long as you're not siping them, right? Cutting them.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, that's the part breakdown that we've heard a little bit of. Colton Walney said Matt Bennett posted about F500 special for this year, maybe at Manawa.
Okay. Well, we got to just see man and what happened. That's our main goal here.
Yep. I know we talked about something
closer. We'll start to see.
Yeah, I know we talked about doing something maybe with Wausau.
Questioning my history of tire softening, Norm. That's not good.
Yeah, well,
track softening. Will that be like track gate now? Will that be the new thing? Are you gonna then have to durometer it?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we'll get that technical. But yeah. Back to the sleds. Lots of F3s are out there for sale. So if people are still looking for sleds, I saw 2 for sale this week. I believe
Oh.
Zach Rogers still has his.
Hmm.
That's a Polaris, and then I think Tyler Beach has his for sale. I saw that posted this week too. So if you're looking for an opportunity to take a crack at the WC and race some F3 sleds that are both pretty well put together sleds, couple opportunities out there. I'm sure there's more in the woodwork. I think Blaine had a stock sled for sale right out of the crate. So opportunities there. New for this season on PDF Racing, Calvin Cook and Hunter Sears are taking over the handlebars for that team this year. Any thoughts on that, Brandon?
It's a driver change up. I believe they took on 2 younger drivers previous year, and I struggled with the knowledge base. Bringing these guys on, they got some seat time under their belt.
Yeah, both very experienced junior drivers. Calvin was very good in Pro Light, and Hunter in the junior classes as well.
Yeah, and Calvin's got some F3 under his belt and a few rounds of champ. That was a surprise to see him jump off his own program. Don't really know how that came about, but that was interesting.
Yeah, good for those guys.
Yeah,
I think
credit, and it's nice to not be racing on your own equipment sometime. But then you get the other side of that sword that you don't always get what you want, and you don't get to change it how you want to change it sometimes.
Yeah, you've been on that program where
as a driver or team owner driver, it is a little different, but hopefully it turns out for the both of them, and the team makes some gains. And I know they have the equipment. It's just putting the sticks and everything together to make it happen.
Yeah, and I think that having owners come out of the woodwork to have drivers that's good for the sport. That's extra money into the sport that might not be there.
How do you make it happen more? How do you duplicate that where the series has enough funding going back out to where owners are going to be hungry to want to be in the sport? That's the next question, I guess.
Yeah, that's $1 million question right there, right?
Yeah, is going across the border worth it when all your sponsors that sponsor the series are mostly based in the States? Like, why are we doing all this traveling when are we gaining funds from those parts of the country? Is the next question. There's a lot of things that come to my mind on it and how I'd go about planning a tour myself.
Yeah, there's lots of moving parts. Cost analysis. Obviously, we're all in racing because it's a hobby. No one's getting rich off of it.
There are people, though.
There are certain people are, but usually drivers and racers are not one of them.
It's all about production.
But yeah, so that about does it for today.
We don't have too much beyond that. Like, it's early season. We're just hoping for cold weather, and the pages haven't truly started to fire off. People are getting back in the shop, probably getting stuff trued up. And I know this was kind of the go time for us. As soon as hunting hit, that was my actual weekend. Like, this is my due date weekend, is hunting weekend when I was in the race shop racing. Then I was thinking about testing in early December if it ever had the opportunity.
Yeah, because your deal was always like your birthday was like, that was the window. Like early November was like go time.
Yeah, early November was go time. And that's like when I gave up always drinking, and my training got twice as hard, and I spent that many more hours in the gym, and the sled had to be done so I could focus on other parts like my nutrition. And there's a lot of things that these drivers need to start focusing on to prep themselves for these weekends.
Yeah, hopefully they got all their sponsors and marketing partners aligned, starting to finalize the schedules of where they're going to go. It's creeping up on us. Race season will be here quick.
Yeah, chasing those last dollars. Gotta get to the racetrack.
Absolutely. So I believe that's going to do it for us today. Don't know when we'll be back. Probably a little closer to Bowtown, right?
Yeah, probably Bowtown. I don't think we'll be next weekend. Maybe the weekend after.
I
got F1 coming up.
There. Yeah,
I'll be at. So, we'll see what we can pull off. We've been at this a long time, and we're sticking around. We'd like to see the numbers keep growing, and we just need some more talking topics. If people have stuff, throw it in the chats, and we can kind of jot it down in our notes and keep on top of it.
Yeah, Alan Bratz asked, you guys got any new gear? I believe I dropped in the comments earlier.
Top of the comments.
Top of the comments should be our Shopify account. They got the Dirty Snow stuff, like what I got on here. A few other designs, kind of stuff we had last year.
Yeah, the Dirty Snow vintage drop is kind of the hot thing for us right now. And then we'll be producing some new stuff here coming up.
Yeah, as we get time. Time allows, as always, for this kind of stuff.
You got to get that winter spirit and creative drop in on your lap, you know?
Yeah. So hopefully we'll do some more stuff. If not, be sure to support your local series and tracks when they do have events as they get closer. That's all you can really ask for, right, Brandon?
Yeah. And throw your comments in the comments if you got any questions for upcoming podcast episodes.
Yeah, any topics, feel free to message us as well.
Thanks for joining us on Facebook and YouTube.
Have a good one, folks.